Okay, okay.
Good afternoon, madam. Hello, madam. Can you? My voice is audible.
Yeah, Maheshwari. Yes.
Yeah, okay, madam. Bharathalakshmi, madam. Okay, good afternoon, madam. Good afternoon, everyone. Students, please inform to your friends within 5 minutes. The section will be start. Please inform to your friends. Let them join as early as possible. YouTube live is also going on. Facebook live is also going on. Please check it. Madam, within 5 minutes we'll start the section, madam.
Good afternoon, madam. Lakshmi madam, good
Good
afternoon, ma'am.
afternoon.
మేడం గోపి సార్ చిన్న మీటింగ్ లో ఉన్నారు తర్వాత మీతో మాట్లాడతానని చెప్తున్నారు
Okay, no problem.
ఓకే మేడం స్టూడెంట్స్ మేడం విల్ వెయిట్ ఫర్ 5 minutes ప్లీజ్
That's absolutely fine.
ఓకే స్టూడెంట్స్ ప్లీజ్ ఇన్ఫార్మ్ టు యువర్ ఫ్రెండ్స్ లెట్ దెమ్ జాయిన్ యాజ్ ఎర్లీ యాజ్ పాసిబుల్ విత్ ఇన్ ఫ్యూ మినిట్స్ విల్ స్టార్ట్ ద సెక్షన్ ఓకే Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, madam. Good afternoon, madam. Students, please inform to your friends. Let them join as early as possible. Within few seconds, the section is going to start. Okay, madam, we'll start the section. Good afternoon, students. Good afternoon, everyone. Today our speaker is Sri Shravani, madam. Madam qualification is MSc Chemistry. Total experience 13 years in the pharma company. Worked in Arbindo Pharma Limited, Unit 4 as a team leader. Madam has worked for 8 years in the quality assurance department, handled the activities of quality management system. Heartily welcome, madam. Shravani, madam. Students, can you hear me now?
Yeah, thank you, Maheshwari, for the introduction.
Thank you
So,
so much, madam.
good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. So let me introduce myself. I am Shravani. I completed my post graduation in chemistry, and nearly I have 12 plus years of experience in pharma industry. And initially, when I started my career, I worked with the parent-oil industry, where I worked in quality assurance department, which will look after all the governing qualifications and quality management system, documentation, training, and QA. And 5 years back, I joined in Dr.Reddy's as a site training coordinator to look after the AP work stream to take care of the technical training part. So this is about the introduction of myself. Maheshwari, are you able to,
Share the
show the
screen.
PPT? Yeah, yeah.
Shravani, if you can switch on your camera, that would be great.
So actually, what happened? I don't know, Lakshmi, but I couldn't able to see the symbol of the video. Only speaker, mic symbol only I will be able to see now. That is what I thought of explaining earlier.
Okay.
I don't know. So earlier it was there, but now I don't know. So is it required some permissions from their end?
No, actually, ideally it comes onto the platform.
But they are not, I have not seen that in the platform. I don't know why.
Okay. Maheshwari, can you just check once?
I can just offer video or mic, that's all, madam. I can't on camera for madam.
So, but my camera I couldn't able to. Lakshmi, shall I share the screen through Teams or?
Just first one is camera, madam. Click on that, it will open, madam.
But that camera is not appearing for me. That is what my issue. Earlier when we tested it was there.
Okay. Otherwise, once left and again rejoin, madam, please.
Left, left.
Yeah, left and rejoin
Okay,
again.
okay, okay. Sure, sure. I will leave.
Okay.
I'll exit and I'll leave.
Okay, madam. Bharatlakshmi madam, I'm sharing the screen. If madam is talking, please respond, madam.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So thank you, Maheshwari. Thank you.
So good afternoon, everyone. You will have a bombardment from Shravani, I believe, today afternoon. So it's on GMP, and this is an important subject when you happen to visit any factory, especially the pharma. So this is an important concept, and please ensure that you chat in the chat boxes. Have wherever you are unable to follow us, I request drop the messages in the chat boxes. I will also reply there, and let's make it a fun and a learning at the same time. So I hope this will create you as a next future. So that's where we are looking up. Shravani, over to you. Please take up the session.
Yeah, thank you, Lakshmi, for giving a brief about the session. So, welcome to all for the session on the GMP overview. And I introduced myself, so already. So today's session is about GMP overview. Before going to start the session, I want everyone to interact well and to have a nice participation to make understand about the concepts. So this is very important for any pharmaceutical industry. So I think I hope you will all participate in a well manner. So let us get started. Okay. So coming to the part of GMP overview, I want to put a small question. What is GMP? Anyone heard about this GMP? Can anyone, I mean, able to elaborate what is GMP? If anyone want to answer, please answer your chart in your answer the chat box. Hope you understand my question. What is GMP? Can you abbreviate GMP? Please post your answer in the chat box. So far no one. Can anyone? So if you don't know answer, you can say don't know. Because until unless you didn't answer, I cannot proceed further because your response is very, very important to a trainer. Yeah, thank you, Mr. Pratap Reddy has given that it is a good manufacturing practices. Thank you. Anyone else? Yeah, Sudarshan, thank you so much. Thank you for your response. So good. It is good manufacturing practices. So let us go to the next slide. Yeah, so coming to this, today we are going to discuss about the topics on like evaluation of GMP and personal hygiene and 10 principles of GMP, elements of GDP and data integrity in this particular session. Okay, so before going to that evaluation of GMP or whatever talking about the GMP, so I just want to give one point of why GMP is important to the pharma industry. So GMP we abbreviated like it's a good manufacturing practices. So how it will help us to the pharma organization is that it will help the organizations, pharma industries to produce consistent quality product to ensure the patient safety. So this is what that consistent quality product means. If we produce 100 batches, all the 100 batches should have a proper quality product and it will also take care of the patient safety. That is what the GMP is helpful to the pharma industry. Let us move on to the GMP, how the GMP came, what is the history behind it. So Maheshwari, can you go to the next slide? Maheshwari? Yeah, move on. So now we are going to look at the history of GMP. Here I want to put a question to all of you that, for example, I hope everyone is traveled on the highways, right? Yes or no? We are traveling on the roads, we are traveling on the highways, right? If you are unable to answer, I cannot move forward because your active interaction will help me a lot to make move forward. Okay, so we are traveling on the highways, right, or roads. We used to see some signs, and we used to see some, barricades. We used to have some signs like, like this is the accident-prone area. Be careful while traveling. Speed limit is this only. Like that, they used to keep some barricades, some boards, and some, signs they used to keep in the highways or in the roads. Why they will keep those signs? Can anyone answer? Hello. Please answer in the chat box. Why we have a signboards? Why we have a speed limits? Why we have some kinds of signs in the roads? Yes. Why do we have sign symbols on the roads? Anyone able to answer? Waiting for your answers. So your active participation will be helpful to you to understand what is GMPs.
Excuse me, madam, just a minute.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for the
Actually, ma'am, the students are answering the YouTube. A lot of people are responding on YouTube. Safety for measurements and safety
Okay. Okay.
instruction for safety driving and so on. So
Okay.
in the
Okay.
air meet, little bit less people are joined, and YouTube and other some is very good. So YouTube, the people are answering the YouTube also. So that's
Okay.
why
Okay. Okay.
you can't.
Okay. Okay. So no problem. I'll just move on. Not a problem. Okay. So Maheshwari, can you share the screen? Yeah, so thanks for your answers. I heard that from Pratap Reddy that those answers you provided in YouTube and also thanks. So why we used to have a road signs and there will be a symbols, there is a speed limits they have kept on the highways or the roads because earlier there must be some instances happened or accidents was happened because of that reason they used to keep signs so that people will not get affected or people should not have any incidents on that particular at that particular location. So for that reason they used to keep the signs to avoid the accidents. So why that I bring to your notice because these GMP regulations also evolved from a lot of incidents in the history. So let us see few of the cases how the regulations came up based on the incidents. So there here if we see diphtheria antitoxin case. So this was like the diphtheria antitoxin was contaminated with tetanus bacteria and hence 13 children were died in 1901. So there is a medicine, diphtheria, antitoxin. So when the manufacturing is done, so it is contaminated with some bacteria. So because of that reason, there are 13 children were died in 1900, not one. So if one person is also died because of the medicine is not manufactured properly, is it acceptable? No, right? So this instance caused to some regulations. Later we'll see the slides, but let us now discuss on the incidents. So coming to the second case, sulfonamide case. The sulfonamide tablets were initially used, and as per the demand, as per the demand of the people or as per the demand of the market, so they manufactured that into a syrup. But in that particular manufacturing, they have used toxic. Go to previous slide, Maheshwari. So I wanted to discuss those cases. Maheshwari, can you go to the previous slide? Maheshwari. Okay, so coming to that sulfonamide case, there is a toxic thing which they have used in the manufacturing that particular product. So because of that reasons, there are some people who are died. Okay, so go to the next slide, Maheshwari. So yeah, no, not this one, previous one. Yeah, thank you so much. And because of this toxic, liquid diethylene glycol was used in the manufacturing of that particular product, that syrup manufacturing. Due to that, 100 people were died in US in the year of 1937. Okay, that is also one of the case. Keep it in mind that what are the cases which we are going through. And sulfathiazole case in 1941, 300 people died due to phenobarbital infested sulfathiazole. This was essentially lack of GMP and prevention of cross contamination. So, because of these incidents, so many people are dying when their drugs are manufacturing. Okay, in the history, if you'll see. And coming to this is one more disaster. It is like really, when we see this incident, it's really a pathetic situation. So let us understand this thalidomide disaster. This thalidomide, originally given as a sedative, was found to be very effective in controlling the morning sickness women. Okay, and pregnant women. Okay, drug was approved only in Germany and Australia, not in the US. All those ladies who took this during their pregnancy gave birth to infants without appendices or limbs. So, like this thalidomide tablets, earlier days they used to give to the pregnant women who are pregnant. Okay, so and when to remove the morning sickness of the pregnant women, they used to take initially in short span of time. They didn't have any reaction on their body. They didn't see anything, and the tablet went well like that. They thought even doctors also didn't found any problem with the medicine. Even pregnant women did not found anything with that medicine. But once they have given the birth to the babies, they have, they like didn't, have the infants did not have any limbs. Okay, so their body is completely not formed in a proper way. So some kids didn't have the head, like ears. Some kids didn't have the legs. Some kids didn't have the fingers. So it is like whole life those kids has to like a disabled people they have to live. So that is the disaster which really worldwide everywhere like they are very kind of situation like why how these drugs are going to manufacture. So why this was instance happened, the investigation gets started because of that incident also. This is one of the reason where the GMP regulations came up. And coming to the Tylenol case, this was an analgesic. In 1982, 7 people died because of consuming this Tylenol. Upon investigation, it was found that few bottles were tampered and were contaminated with the cyanide. Okay, you know the how poisonous is cyanide, right? So let us go to the next one. The case, it is a Chinese heparin. 81 deaths and 300 plus serious cases were registered after heparin injection. So heparin injection is an anticoagulant. And this will be used as an injection. So if you see that compared to the tablets and the injections is the very fastest reactant on our body. So how this was happened, because in China, because of the shortage of some raw material supplement, they used instance of fish, normal, rather than pigs. So because of that reason, immediately 81 people died and 300 were gone to serious, up to the fatality. But because having they have a good diagnostic at their place, that they have saved their lives. So these are all the incidents which has happened before evolving the GMPs. Okay, these are the incidents. Let us move on to the next slide. Maheshwari. So because of these, these incidents, there are some regulations came up. So what are those? Let us quickly see that what are the incidents and what are the regulations which just came up for these incidents. So contamination of diphtheria antitoxin with tetanus, Biologics Act 1902. In 1901, the incident was happened, and in 1902, they have formed a regulation against that particular incident. And coming to the self-nullified incident, FDA authorized to oversee patient safety. So earlier, when they are manufacturing any drug or anything, so they didn't, no authority is looking after the patient safety. But once this was incident has happened where the people died, so 100 people are died based on that incident, so FDA is took a responsibility that yes, everybody's safety is important, patient safety is very important, and they have put a regulation on that. Okay. Coming to the third incident, there is a Public Health Service Act enforcing use of GMPs. So there is a force or a rule, a regulation came that yes, if you are manufacturing any product, you have to follow the GMPs. And going to the next disaster, thalidomide disaster. So it is enforcement of product safety study before approval. Okay, so whenever you are manufacturing a product, okay, whenever you are manufacturing a new product, or whenever you are manufacturing a new thing which should get approval from FDA, then only you have to manufacture. And before approval also, the entire team who is approving that product will look after the product safety, how it is safe to the patients. They will check and then only they will approve the product. So FDA approval is, came to picture that time to manufacture the medicine before starting the manufacturing of the medicine. Okay. Coming to the next one, it is a Tainara disaster. So there is an introduction of anti-tampering and packaging law because in the packaging they found that there is a cyanide. That is what the law came that whenever you are doing a packing, so there should be a recheck, and there is a packaging law came because of that particular incident. And coming to the adulteration of Chinese apparel, so here the increased vigilance on foreign manufacturers by US FDA by scale, like the raw material procured. So we will procure raw materials from different countries, and we will manufacture and we will procure some other excipients from some other countries. So now the vigilance, like wherever we are procuring, so FDA is also looking to that, how they are procuring the raw materials and how they are taking. The vigilance is increased with respect to every aspect of the manufacturing of the product. So can you go to the next slide, Maheshwari? Yeah. So coming here, so when the entire process of this, entire history about what we have discussed, that time there is no words like GMP. So there is no word like GMPs, and there is no word like quality, and there is no word like documentation, and there is no word like risk or validation. So they don't know anything, and they don't see that how much quality of the product, how it is good, how it is bad, and there is no documentation how they have processed and all. So how then next slide, Maheshwari. So there was a lot of the incident which has happened, and there is no words like quality and all, recheck is not there. Some regulations came up because of the incidents, and we learned as a worldwide, as a country, as a world, we learned a lot of things from the CGM, a lot of things from the incidents. So those disaster incidents, like given a great lesson to the world. So coming to that, changes can be made only after review and approval. Whenever you want to change anything, whenever you want to change any raw material, or whenever you change any process of the manufacturing of the product, so that time, so you need to have an approval from the FDA or a regulatory authority of that particular country. And traceability is very important to facilitate recall if needed. These points we have to be very careful. So whenever we are, marketing the product, so that product is marketed to n number of areas. So that traceability where you have marketed and when you marketed, that checks has to be there. The traceability has to be there. Whenever any problem is there, we can recall the product immediately. So the people should not get affected because of the problem. Okay. And coming to the control, yes. So whenever we are doing manufacturing the product, we have to have a proper controls on the raw materials, intermediates, and API, and as well as the documentation also came in because every process steps need to be written properly, and because of the stuff, it will helpful to the investigation of the particular process and a particular product if it is having any problem or if the product is having any market complaint. So though this documentation will help to investigate the same. And contamination can sometimes lead to death. Yes, yes. Even if it is like, we made that array, what will happen? It is only a small thing that is happening. Not like that. So if any contamination, because wherever you will see that a pharmaceutical industry is manufacturing a life-saving drug, not something else they are doing. So it's a life-saving drug. So that is what every step, each step, we have to be very careful, and we also has to make sure that our product should not be contaminated. Okay. So then improper labeling practices could lead to wrong medicine to patients. How? So I wanted to put an example. For example, I took there is a package which is there of a product. The product is the product. Let us take a vial. Okay, in the vial the product is like filled with it will be used for the treatment of cancer. Okay, but when you are putting a package and when you are putting the label to that particular vial, so you put the product name as it is the treatment for the tuberculosis. Okay, and you put the package also for the tuberculosis. Okay, so now this vial, this injection will be used to whom? Will it will be used to the cancer patient or will be used to the tuberculosis patient? Can anyone answer in chat box? Can anyone answer in chat box? I'll just pause for 2 seconds. Yes, yes, good Shaheen, Sultana. Thank you, thanks for your answer. It is tuberculosis. Yes, but what is the drug inside? What is the drug inside? It is the drug inside is cancer. Okay, so for the tuberculosis patient, you are giving the cancer medicine. Is it acceptable? People may die because of the wrong medication and wrong packaging and wrong labels also. So that is the reason you can't say that this is a simple work or this is a simple thing in the pharma industry. You have to be very careful even when you are doing the labeling and packing activities also. Okay, then always you have to have a second check for every critical activity in the pharma industry. So if I have a performer, okay, I am doing the work, I am an operator, there is another person who reviews and approves my work, or they will check it out. Okay, everything about the work which I have performed. So check and double check is very, very important in the pharma industry. Okay, and non-uniformity of blend can result into less or over or adversary. So the blending is also very, very important. So how the dosage you are deciding and everything also come into place. And maintain equipment and calibrate instruments for consistent quality. So to have a consistent quality product, we have to have a proper equipment maintenance, and the equipment calibrations is also very important to produce a quality product consistently. Okay, that's how the principle claims that product quality holds true. So always, if these regulations if we'll follow and these things we will follow, we'll produce a good product. Okay. So move on to next slide, Maheshwari. So I just want to give few regulations like what we have worldwide. Okay. So coming to FDA. So can anyone abbreviate FDA? In the chat box, I'll wait for 1 or 2 seconds. So what is FDA? Anyone able to answer in the chat box? I'll just pause for a second. Team, let's get up. Yes, good. Shaheen Sultana, congratulations. You answered well. Thanks for your nice and active participation. It is Food and Drug Administration. Yes. So FDA is a Food and Drug Administration. It's an authority which will look after overall worldwide, medicines which is manufactured by the different organizations and different pharma companies. And we also have a country-wise, regulatory authorities. If, for example, FDA is US FDA, we have Korean FDA, we have South African FDA, and we also have our Indian FDA that is called CDSCO. We'll call it as a local FDA, and also MHRA and TGA. These are belongs to different country regulators. Whenever we are manufacturing a product in our country, and if we are marketing that particular product to their country, so we have to ensure that we follow those country regulations. Okay, Maheshwari, can you move on? Okay, so let us see. For example, so we know that when we are manufacturing the product, when we are doing product for some other country for their market, we have to follow the regulatory body or the regulatory guidelines of that particular country, right? So if we are not meeting those regulations, what is going to happen? So let us see. For example, in the case of US, what will happen? Okay, so here coming to that, whenever we have an audit, for example, we are manufacturing a product for US FDA, okay, and we marketed the product, okay, and we have supplying the product, and they will also have a checkpoints, and they will come and do the audits in the pharma companies. Where, if for example they found something we are not meeting as per the specifications or as per the guidelines, they will issue a form 483, which is a notice of observations they will give. So observation points they will give that you didn't meet these things, and you didn't follow these procedures during your manufacturing, like that. And if we are not responding to that points in a proper way, and if we didn't take any corrective actions in a proper way, so they will issue a warning letter to our company. And upon receiving the warning letter, still we are not acting properly, or we didn't take any corrective and proper preventive actions, they will ban, import alert they will give. So they will not take our products, they will just give an import alert. Even though if we didn't accept it, they will say it's a consent decree, and they will completely ban that particular plant or that pharmaceutical company not to produce that product and not to produce that product into their market. Okay, that is US FDA enforcement in respect to the CGMP guidance, which if we are not following the regulations when we are manufacturing that particular product. Okay. And coming to the next one, it is a EU regulatory enforcement. This is the same, but the guidance or the terminology differs from US FDA or EU or other countries. Okay. So if you see that here, they will give an inspection observation report. So if they found that you are not meeting the specifications, they will give an inspection observation report, and they will ban on products. So if you didn't respond properly, so they will ban our products. Okay. And they will take also a legal action. They will put fines, and they will go to the court for justice, and because they will fight for their people, because they are using the medicine which we are producing, right? So this is the enforcement of US FDA and EU, Europe, for not following the CGMP regulations while manufacturing the product. So Maheshwari, can you move to the next slide? Yeah. So as of now, we learned about how the GMP came. Like there is lot of incidents, and later on there is some regulations came up because of one incident, and what are the regulator bodies we have across country, and what is their enforcement if we are not following the GMP regulations. So far we have learned about that. And coming to the next topic, it is talking about the personal hygiene. Okay, so team, are you ready to answer the questions? Let me put a question on hygiene. So what is hygiene? I'll just pass for 2 seconds. Please answer in the chat box. So what is hygiene? All of you know that it is daily part of our life. In the childhood onwards we are learning. I am just giving few hints also. I am just giving few hints. From the childhood onwards we are learning. Yes, Sultana, thank you. Thank you again for the active participation. So it is cleanliness. Yes, hygiene is cleanliness. Uh, so it is like Krishnama. So it is. It's not sterile, ma. So I will. I am able. I am going to explain what is hygiene. Monica is also answered well. That is cleanliness. Thank you, Monica, for the right answer and the nice participation. So let us go to the next slide, Maheshwari. Yeah. So we came to the topic hygiene. So hygiene meaning is origin of the word. Word hygiene is from Greek word hygieis, meaning healthy and sound. Conditions or practices, nothing but it's a cleanliness. So the word is came from the Greek word hygieis. Okay, that we need to remember. So how it is important, in the pharmaceutical industry, how it will helpful in the pharmaceutical industry. Let us look into it. Okay. Conditions are practices for maintaining health and preventing diseases, especially through cleanliness. How? So because cleanliness is very, very important, right? Okay. So shall we move to the next slide? So move on. Yeah, yeah. Okay. So if you see here, there are a lot of things are there. So do you observe, is there a hygienic? No, right. So the answer is already came like none of them actually. So we may see that there is no in the keypad there is no hygiene or there is no contamination is there is no dust is there. We can't see like that, right? So it is none of them. So nothing is hygienic in this particular pictures what we have shown here, right? Next slide. So, one fact on hygiene that London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine reported that 6 cell phones of UK, out of 6 cell phones in UK have been detected with facial matter. So there is a facial matter on it. So we can't say that, and the microorganisms or the foreign matter which we can't able to see with the naked eye, that we have to remember. Okay. And University of Washington found facial matter on the computer keyboards. They also found that in the computer keyboards. And one more thing, shopping carts have been detected having very high number of bacteria on them. So we may not say that nothing is hygiene, nothing is clean. Everything is clean. Sorry, and we can't say this is cleaned and this is well cleaned. It is well sanitized. We can't say like that. Okay. So we have to be very careful, and this hygiene part is plays an important role in the manufacturing of the product. Okay, let us move on to the next slide. Yeah. So let us hear a story of Mary Mellon. Okay. So what is she and how this she contaminated? Why hygiene is important in pharma? Let us just understand this small story which has really happened in US. So and understand the importance of how hygiene is important in pharma and as well as in our regular life, right? So coming here, Mary Mellon. So and some people call in US that they call also as a typhoid Mary. So how the name it comes? So let us see. So she is a cook by a profession in the US. Okay, she used to go to the homes and she used to cook the food for a few of the families. Okay, when she is infected with the typhoid, so she didn't take any precautions and she directly went to the families and she cooked food for those families. So because of that, she infected 51 patients with the typhoid. Okay, and 3 of them were died. Okay, if she is cooking and if she is transferred that virus or that typhoid virus into the so many families, just imagine if a pharma manufacturing, if we are manufacturing a product in the pharma, if this type of contamination, if this type of virus is entered into the drug which we are manufacturing or tablets or capsules or injections which we are manufacturing, how if the people are consumed, how is their situation? Because everyone may die and everyone will have adverse reactions on their body. So that is where the hygiene is very, very important in the pharma, right? So shall we move on, Maheshwari? Yeah. So for our end users, so like millions of patients worldwide who consume our products, or it could be you, your family, and friends. So medicines nowadays, see, if we'll see, medicines is consumed by everyone, right? So that is what we have to give a trust, and we have to, the companies which they are manufacturing, they have to give a trust that yes, when taking the medicines, you are safe, the patient is safe. How that trust will come? By following the regulations, apart from that by practicing the personal hygiene. Okay, so that's where the personal hygiene is very very important to take care of the patient safety as well. Next slide. So just have a view that what is good hygiene conditions. So as per the definition, good hygiene can be achieved through good hygiene conditions and as well as practices. Conditions are those when you are working, what has to be available there in that particular area as a condition, like a temperature or like wherever the equipment has to be placed, wherever the sanitization has to be in place, wherever like the room should be cleaned. So those are the conditions. But when coming to the practices, so what are the practices? What are the good hygiene practices which we have to follow in the regular life of in pharma industry? So let us look into it. Can you move on? Yeah, yeah. Yeah. So body cleanliness. Coming to the good hygiene practices. Okay. So here I want to tell one thing. So whenever the contamination part is came, okay. So contamination is nothing but it is an undesired matter, which is present on any material or product is called a contamination. Okay. So contamination may happen from different resources where the environment also will take place, where the equipment also will take, will involve, if we didn't clean properly, so the contamination may happen. And coming to the environment part, so there is a, like if the dust particles is allowed and you didn't have a proper ventilation system, you didn't have a proper clean room design system. So that time, the because of the environment, also the product will get contaminated. So how the people part? Okay, people. So if you'll see, people are the major source of the contamination. How? Because whenever the environment is having a problem, we can control by designing with the proper HEPA filters, with the proper HVAC system. We used to put some temperature conditions, and we can control the contamination from the environment and also from the equipment. We will be able to control the contamination by continuous cleaning of the equipment and sterilization of the parts of the equipment. Okay, so by this way we can control the contamination from the environment and we can control the contamination from the equipment as well. But when it is came to the people, so what we have to do? We have to follow the good hygiene and health habits. Okay, it is like personally we have to adopt, personally we have to follow. So our habits should, and our practices should improve towards the good health and hygiene habits. So because as people are the major source of the contamination, the behavior of the people and the personal hygiene of the people will take a major role in the manufacturing of the product. That is the reason we have to be very, very careful when we are entering into the many manufacturing area and when we are working in the pharmaceutical industry. Okay. Yeah. So coming to that here, like body cleanliness, it is very, very important. And dust, smoke and sweat, it's a deadly combination. It will create a harmful bacteria. Okay. So move on to the next slide. Yeah. So what we used to do. So if you'll see here the pictures and everything, you may see that Hariyar, why you are telling to bath. So yes, it's very important. Even from our childhood, we used to follow, and your teachers also used to tell you have to have a good health habits. Good habits. What is the good health habits? So go to bed early, wake up early. So those are all the good habits we used to learn from in our childhood, right? Here also it will apply. Here also it is very very important, and we have to have a complete bath. Okay, before coming to the work, before entering into the specific areas, wherever the injections is going to be manufactured, even after you bath, yeah, when you started home, you took bath, and when you're going there, After reaching the company also, again you have to bath and again you have to enter into the production area where the injectable and parenteral manufacturing is going on. So that's what it is recommended. If it is there in the procedure, yes, you have to follow. Yes, you have to take bath again. And after going home, before going home, if sometimes there is some steroids manufacturing is going on, so that time also you have to have a proper this thing. I mean, like a proper bath you have to take, and you have to go home because you will touch your children or family members. Without bath again it will be a problem to the family. Okay, and after going home, so that is up to you how you are going to do that. Okay. And some people are, putting in the chat box. Yes, thank you, children. I mean, students. That yes, you have to use. Even gowning is also very important to prevent the person hygiene. And I mean, Gaurav and Pawan answered well. Yes, I appreciate your answers. We have to follow also even gowning practices by using masks, gurgles, and face shields and complete gowning when we are working in the manufacturing. Thank you, students, for answering. Go to the next slide. Yeah. So coming here, if you see that, we have a number of organs, but when we see here, the hands will carry most of our physical tasks. Is it right? Yes. Yes. So if you see that we will drive, we will cook, and we will write, even we will use the laptop with our hands. Even, when we are doing anything in our home, in our regular life, if you observe that most of the organ which we will be used more is our hands. Right, so we will do activities with the hands. So then this hand is also a major contamination, which will cause a major contamination during our activities in the industry. So let us move on to the next slide. Okay, so if we didn't if the hand hygiene is not proper, so we didn't clean properly, so what is going to happen? Okay, let us see. If the hand hygiene is not proper, okay, so what will happen? You are mixing the product with your hand, but you didn't clean properly. Even though you worn gloves, or you didn't. Sometimes people did not wear also gloves, or the glove is torn, so you didn't clean your hands in a good manner. Then what will happen? One can fall sick. The person who took your medicine, he may get sick. And after that, because of that, you will get a recall. Recall means you will call back all the batches what you have manufactured with respect to that particular product. And after that, if the patient is sick, if the patient is having any adverse drug reactions in his body or in her body, and recall it will leads to a recall, and later on we will receive FDA warning letter. So don't think that Araya chota hands, what it will do? It will do lot of things, boss. It will think lot of it will cause lot of contamination, and it will cause lot of bacteria. So because our entire body is a form of bacteria, and we have to be very careful, and every time we have to make sure that we are very clean, and we have to clean our hands and sanitize hands properly. Let us see how we have to wash our hands in a proper way to remove the contamination, or to ensure that it is sanitized properly before doing the activity. Can you move on? Yeah. So coming to the hand wash procedure, yes, first whenever the hand is there, so you have to wet your hands with water and apply soap, and after that rub hands for 20 seconds. So like shown in the picture. So I think by seeing the pictures you will understand like how you have to wash your hands. You have to rub like this. Okay, you have to rub entire hand like this and like this, even within the fingers like this. You have to do that, and after that again you have to rinse with plenty of the water. And after that you have to dry. Nothing should be, there is no moisture in the hands. And later on, then only you have to go to your production or manufacturing area. Okay. So move on. Yeah. So when one's hand should be washed. So let us understand like what is the frequency where we have to wash our hands. Before starting any operation, we have to wash our hands. and after completion of the operations also, because you will touch a number of raw materials, I mean like you will handle with different type of equipments also, so that is where you have to wash your hand. Before food, yes, absolutely. When you're working in a pharma industry, you may not know that what chemicals and what solvents and what raw material which you are going to use in the premises. So you have to be very careful. Before food, you have to completely wash your hands. And even after food, you have to wash your hand, because if you didn't wash your hand properly, again, when you are entering to the premises, it will again lead to the contamination. Before going washroom, after going washroom, and before going home also, it is preferred. Okay, let us move on. Yeah, and one more thing, it is very important that you have to always wear clean clothes when you are entering into the premises. Like the people who is working into the different departments like QC and production, and some of the departments who is entering into the production areas or manufacturing areas, where there is a complete gowning and aprons is going to be provided to them to work. Okay, so please, we have to please make sure that when you are wearing those type of gowns, it should be cleaned. Okay, you have to check and you have to wear the gowning. Okay, let's move on. And a few things, this we already know, and from the childhood, these are the habits which we used to follow. Like you have to clip your nails, and men should have a clean shave when they are coming to the premises, or when they are coming to the, company. Okay, let's move on. And other good practices, when we sneeze or cough, you have to cover your mouth, or you have to put your kerchief, because when you are sneezing or coughing, you are going to release a number of microorganisms into the air, which we will contaminate the product. Okay, so that we have to be very careful. Okay, so we have to have not only hygiene habits, we have to follow health habits also. Okay, move on. And you have to use your handkerchief while sneezing and coughing, and or you can use your tissue. These are all the common things we already know, but why we are stressing here, because these things also will contaminate our product. That is the reason we have to be very careful with personal hygiene part. Okay, if spitting in public place unethical, doing the same inside factory premises is a crime. Remember, we make life-saving drugs and life-saving drug products, so we have to be very careful. You cannot spit everywhere in the premises. Okay, let's move on. Yeah. So far we understood about the evaluation of GMP, how the GMP came, what are the incidents and everything, and what are the enforcements from different market, different regulations we understood. And we also understood about the person hygiene part, how it will take important role in the pharma industry, and what the precautions we need to take as a man or as a human when we are working in a pharmaceutical industry, or as an employee we are working in a pharmaceutical industry. So what are the precautions we need to take as a hygiene and a health habits we learned about so far with the personal hygiene part. And coming to the third one, it is the 10 principles of GMP. What are those principles? Let us see. Yeah, thanks. And coming to these 10 principles of GMP, here, first of all, when we are doing any activity, we have to have a step-by-step procedures. Why we need to have a step-by-step procedure? I'm just pausing for a second. Can anyone, able to answer in the chat box? Why we need to have procedures? Why we need to have a procedures? Can anyone? Students? Yeah, so nice, Kumar. So he answered well, to follow in correct way. Yes, right answer, Kumar. I appreciate your active participation and coming to that correct way, because if I give a work to 3 people I didn't tell any procedure. I told them to do the work. Three people will have a different opinions. Three people may think it, a different way, and they will do a activity in a different, processes, right? So that is the reason we have to have a unique procedure to follow across the industry. So that is the reason for every step, every activity, every process, every activity where we are performing the pharma industry, we have to have a procedure in place. It should be a step-by-step procedure, and it will help every employee to follow the unique procedure in the organization. Okay, so that is the reason you have to have a step-by-step procedure. Okay, for example, if I want to hold a pen, like how I have to hold. So just you have to put the finger like this. That is the step one, and you have to put the finger like this. Step two, and you have to just hold the pen like this, and you have to tap like this. So these steps has to be written in the procedure so that every employee will follow the same procedure, same steps they will follow to have a uniqueness in the procedure and uniqueness in the process so that it will help to the organization and to the product. Okay, so this is an example which I have given. Okay, and follow the written procedures. Okay, so there is a step-by-step procedures which is written, and also follow the written procedures. Every employee who is working, so they have to follow the written procedures which is mentioned step by step. Third one, document the work. Okay, whatever the work you have performed, so you have to document it. Fine. I will just put you a question. You all are students, right? So I think I know some may have done BSc completed, and some may have completed B Pharmacy, some may have completed M Pharmacy, some may completed MSc. So I don't know which qualification you are, but I just put a question to you. So you completed your post graduation, and you went to some organization to work with them. And when they put an interview to you, answered all the questions as you have an 100% knowledge. Okay, but when they asked you a certificate, you said that I didn't have any certificate. Okay. So are you going to take, is the organization is going to take you to the employment? So are they going to recruit you? Students, I just paused for a second. No, yes, Sultana, no. Yeah, thanks for your, answer. Sultana, yes, they will not take. Why? Why they will not take? You answered all the questions, right? Then why they will not take? Because there is no proof that you have done. Okay, even though you answered all the questions, you did not have any proof that you have completed that qualification, or you didn't have any certification that you have completed the course. So that is the reason every step what you are performing in the or following in the pharma industry, you have to document it, and you have to also validate the work what you are doing. Either it is correct, either it is something wrong, something going wrong. You have to correct and you have to validate it. That is called itself validate the work. Then fifth one, it is design facilities and equipment. Okay, so when we are why the design of the facilities and equipment is very important. For example, in the normal area, are you able to produce the production of the product? No, right? We have to have like proper precautions we need to take. To have like a nice product in place and quality product in place. So that is the reason we have to have a proper ventilation system, and we have to have a proper HVAC system to have a temperature controls and to avoid the contamination of the product. Okay, so that's what we have before starting of the operation, or before starting of the any product manufacturing. We have to have a proper facilities and equipment in place. We have to have a proper designed facilities. Okay, can you go to the next slide? Maheshwari.
Sorry, madam.
Yeah. So not an issue. You can go on. Yeah, so designing the facilities and equipment is also very important. And the sixth one is maintain the facilities. It doesn't mean that you have a good environment, good clean room for manufacturing, good equipment for doing the work. But you also has to have a proper maintenance. You have to have a proper cleaning procedures. Okay, always you have to clean the facility. Always you have to ensure the cleanliness of the equipment also to avoid the contamination of the product. Okay, designing is also important as well as maintenance and cleaning of the facility and equipment is also important. And coming to the be competent through education, training and experience. Okay, so why people should have an education, why people should have a training, why they should have an experience to do the work? I'll just pause for a minute. Can you answer? Students, why we need to have an education and training before performing any work? Why? Students? Okay, so let me come to the point like, we have to have an education, okay, to work, and we have to have a skill to perform the work. Okay, so we have to have a training to do that activity. Somebody should train me to perform that activity, because even though I have an education, I didn't train on that particular skill to do the activity. That is the reason, because MPharmacy people should work on the pharmacy background, and MSc chemistry people should do some they will work on QC or production departments. Depends on your education, depends on your training. You will be allocated to the different departments with respect to your qualification. And after training only, you are going to enter into the premises to work. Okay, that you have to be very carefully follow that procedure. Okay. And somebody has written that Madhurima and Monica, yes, well done, guys. You have answered well. Yes, to have a proper knowledge of the specific work. Good. Thank you. Thank you for your participation. And maintain cleanliness. Okay, so you always has to maintain cleanliness. In what type of a cleanliness you have to maintain? Cleanliness of the facility, cleanliness of the equipment, cleanliness of the area, cleanliness of the person. Okay, these are all aspects is very important. We have to follow. Okay, next, build quality into product. Okay, so it doesn't mean that whenever you are building process, when you are building the quality into the product, so you have to be very careful. Like you did the process is not correct. You are not following all the steps of the process, and ultimately you are saying that the product is not quality. Is it acceptable? No, because when your process steps are correct, when you are following in the process, procedure systematically, what it is mentioned in the procedure, and what are the precautions or what are the parameters or what are the monitoring systems you are following in the entire product process. If you build in a quality way, ultimately the product you will get it is in a quality manner. If you are not following all these steps, ultimately you will not get a good quality product. So that is where from the starting onwards, from the raw material onwards to the dispatch of the product, you have to build quality into the product. Okay. Next, perform audits for compliance. Okay. So why we need to have an audits? Why we need to have an audits for compliance? Let me put a question to you. So it's just a common sense, like as you are all students, and even I am also a student a few years back. Just wanted to put a question to you all. When we are studying, we used to have a mid exams, right? Okay, there is an annual exam, there is a semester. Like now you people is having a semester exams, but when we are studying, we used to have an annual exam yearly once. So meanwhile, we used to have some tests like quarterly, half yearly, pre-final. Why we used to have those exams? Can anyone answer? Students? So to improve, Sultana rightly said, to improve. Yes, right answer. So coming here, yes, wherever we see that For example, if I am writing 5 subjects of an exam in a quarterly exam, I felt that 4 of the subjects I've got good marks, but fifth subject, some X subject, I didn't get good marks. Then what I will do? I will just concentrate on that particular subject to improve myself and to pass in the final exam, right? So this will help us where we have our gaps and to improve our to fulfill those gaps. Okay, so in our student life, wherein coming to the organization part, here also in the same way, like we are performing the activities, but we will do the audits to identify the gaps in the activities, and also like we will ensure that we will meeting the compliance and guidelines of the particular regulatory bodies, and whatever the gaps which we found that can be escalated to the higher people, and we will take necessary precautions to fulfill those gaps and to meet the compliance of the regulatory bodies, and also to produce quality product. Okay, so these audits will help pharmaceutical industry to produce a consistent quality product by fulfilling the gaps, and whatever the I mean, any problem or anything which we are facing, that can also be resolved there itself. I know to get back to a good, the reputation also will be appeared by performing the internal audits in the organization. If you are putting a good audits, internal audit system in the organization, so there will we ourselves can find our faults and we can correct ourselves to improve our business. Okay. So these are the 10 principles of GMP. This is the very, very important steps that is the heart of the GMP. Okay. So we have to remember, and these things should be followed in the pharmaceutical industry. Go on. Yeah. So far we learned about evolution of GMP, personal hygiene, and the 10 principles of GMP. And coming to the elements of GDP. Can anyone heard about the GDP? Anyone able to abbreviate GDP? I'll just pause for a minute. What is GDP? Students, what is GDP? So I'll abbreviate for you. What is good documentation practices? So Kumar, that is not gross domestic product. It is a good documentation practices. So can anyone tell about documentation at least? What is documentation? Sorry. Students, can anyone tell about the documentation? I'll just pause for a second. So, answer in the chat box for the active participation. So, procedure which we have done yet, rightly said Sultana, you came to the point. 70% of your answer is correct. So, not Gaurav, it is not gross domestic product. Okay, let's move on, Maheshwari, to explain about the good documentation practices. So let us see a few things, what history which we have, what is the, no, just go back, yeah. So coming to this, what are those? It's a flying machine, it's missiles, it's ancient Mayan city, right? So ancient civilizations had all these and many more technological marvels, right? When we have in olden, we also have in oldness we have too many things also. Okay, then why it took 20th century to make aircraft and missiles? Is there any idea? We also have a flying machine in the history, but when we made these aircrafts and missiles in the 20th century, why? I'll just pause for a minute. Students, no, Pavan. Maheshwari, go on. So because the technology when you have manufactured, the technology when you have done in the previous years or in the old century is not documented. Okay, Maheshwari, just move on. It's not documented, right, boss? See, you have invented anything, and the scientist who invented, he kept ready. But to prepare another kind of a thing, he may not remember what he has done. If every step is documented, it would have done there itself, right? So that is where if the document is not proper, we cannot do the things in a proper way. Okay, it took a lot of time to again come to the, it took a lot of time to make those aircrafts for 20th century. Okay, that is the reason is behind it that. Okay, move on. So why documentation? So let us see why documentation has to be done. Uh, Provides instruction to the readers. Yeah, always will, documentation will give a instruction to the readers. It will give an instruction. Then communication with the reader and reviewer. Provides the documented evidence of the activity. Helpful in investigation. Regulators need it. Okay. So when you want to follow the procedure, first of all you have to have a print or a procedure in place where where it is documented. So based on that only you will follow the steps of your activities by seeing that particular instructions. If for example, whenever you go to some places or some like notices, which is they will give some instructions with respect to some in government places. If you go, they will give some instructions, right? So why they will give an instruction, that we should understand, like what are the instructions which they have given before going to that particular place, right? And communication with the reader and reviewer, yes, it's a communication to the reader that you have to follow this. And it also that provides evidence of an activity, that is very very important. Like we already talked about that if you didn't have a certificate, no employer will recruit you. Okay, it is yes, just Pawan Kumar, yes, it's giving the information and instruction. Thanks for your response. And it will also helpful in investigation. How? For example, if I have a step-by-step procedure in place when we are manufacturing the product, so whenever any problem occurs in that product, whenever any recall or whenever any complaint came to the site or came to the particular organization, this step-by-step procedure will help to investigate where exactly the problem occurred. Is there any problem is in there in that product? Everything they will be able to investigate on the data in the that particular documentation what you have done. Okay, and also if the regulators or if the auditors wanted to review, you have to have a documentation in place. Okay, as per the guideline, it is also the information that has to be provided to the auditor. Okay. Yeah. So coming to that, wherever if we'll see, okay. So wherever if we'll see here, there is a document hierarchy is there. So whenever we have a hierarchy levels everywhere in, I mean like in the employees and the documents and wherever we have lot many hierarchy levels, right? So before proceeding to this document hierarchy, what is hierarchy? Can anyone answer what is hierarchy? Students, I'll just pause for a minute. So what is hierarchy? Okay, so let us see, it is hierarchy is levels, just we will call it as levels. Either it is employee levels hierarchy, either it is a document hierarchy, either it is something else. It's the level, where from level onwards, yes, ranking. So that is also, relevant to that, Sultana. Yes, thanks for your answer. So I appreciate your active participation. And the hierarchy of the documents came from, this is just a document hierarchy which we are going to discuss. It is quality manual, that is the first level of document. and global guidelines and global SOPs, CQA SOPs, plant SOPs, and records. So these are the hierarchy of documents which we need to follow in the pharmaceutical industry. Okay, move on, Aishwari. And so coming here, so there is a differentiation of document and record. So let us understand what is the difference between a document and what is the difference between a record. Okay, so document is nothing but referred during the activity, right? When you are going to perform an activity, you will refer a procedure that how I have to do the activity. Okay, that is document. Wherein coming to the record, after performing the activity, you will write down something, this is I have done. After execution of the activity, you will note it down what you have done. So that is generated during the activity. Okay. Then document is approved before use. Whenever in pharmaceutical industry, documentation and the document or a procedure has to be approved by a QA person and the person who is heading that function, the procedure has to be approved before implementing that procedure in the particular department. So it is very important before approval of the document before its use. Okay, and record approved after generation. So there is a review process will be done after recording or after execution of the activity. And document will give provides instructions and intent. So it will give an instruction how we have to perform the activity. Wherein coming to the record, it will provide the evidence or result, okay, of an activity. It is a proof that you have done an activity. It is an evidence that the temperature is recorded properly on that particular time. Okay, so those the differentiation you need to understand here. Okay, then document can be reversed if required. Okay, so if the document or if I wanted to add anything or if you want to remove anything, you wanted to do some changes, you can revise the document. But wherein in the record, you cannot do any revision. So we have to keep in that mind. And document is perpetual and record is a definite life. So we, documents can be perpetual and it can be having some periodic time for the storage in the area. But wherein records, it has a definite life, to storage in the particular premises. Okay, move on. Yeah, yeah. So coming to the documentation process, whenever the document is prepared and how it is going to be executed, how it is going to review. So let us understand a flow, how it is going to be done in the pharma organization. So here, first of all, the author or the preparator will prepare a document first. So to how the step-by-step process has to be done. So then after preparation, there is a reviewer who is an experienced person, will review that procedure. For any corrections is made accordingly after the review, and it is reviewed and it is approved. Okay. Once it is approved, it is ready for the implementation of the process or a procedure or an activity. Then later on, it will be issued to the particular department for the execution. Okay, execution means based on that particular activity, based on that particular procedure, I have to execute the things. I have to perform my activities. Okay, once the execution comes, so here we thought the documentation, from the data, the recording starts from the execution part. Okay, so then review. So after execution, again there is a review process will be there. Either the performing activities, the performance of a person, or step-by-step process is performed in a proper way or not as per the procedure. The senior person is going to review the execution part of the activity. Then later on, submission of the document to the QA department team, and later on that again a review will be happen from quality assurance department, and after that document will be retention. Okay, they will keep in the particular archival place, and we have to have a particular documentation room in the premises. In that particular room, it will be retained, and After that, finally, based on the lifetime of the document, it will be disposed. Okay, so some people may think this execution part only is a documentation, not that. From the preparation to the end of the disposal of the document, all together comes as a documentation. Okay, move on. Yeah, so let us see a few of the good documentation practices which we need to follow in the pharma industry. So, in exams or wherever we are writing some notes in the classroom or colleges, we used to have whatever the pen we want, we used to use. There is no restrictions, right? Okay, if you wanted to correct anything, I'll just put strikes, a number of strikes. I used to do like that, but where in the pharma industry it is not allowed. Okay, we have to have a proper instructions to document the activities or document the data also. Let us see what are those practices which we need to adopt to while performing the activities. So use the defined colored ballpoint pen for document entry. So always you have to use a ballpoint pen. Why? Students, I'll just pause for a minute. Why we have to use a ballpoint pen? Why not an ink pen? Hello, students. Why we have to use a ballpoint pen? Why not ink pen? Anyone? You can answer in the chat box. Yes, Dr.Reddy garu is given an answer that gel pen or ink pens erases. If the drop of water is fallen on the particular data, so it will be erased. So that is where the data which we are writing, the documents which we have to keep for long years, we have to have a good ballpoint pen for recording the data and keeping the data for years, for too many years. Okay, and coming to that, in the perspective of that, we should not use the ink pen. We have to always use a ballpoint pen, which the color is preferred by the particular organization. Okay. Next, use the defined data and time format. Okay, so always we have to be very careful. Whatever the date and time format is mentioned by the organization, which they have given instruction, so those things has to be followed by the respective employee in the organization. So some people will use like 2020. Some people only use DD, MM, YY format only. So some people will use DD, MM, four-wise format. So the format which they have mentioned with respect to the date, with respect to the time format should be used. Generally in pharmacy industry, 24 hours format of the time format will be used. Okay. And coming to the third, make document entries in legible way. So when you are writing something or when you are entering some data in the document, it should be legible and it should be readable to the person who is reading. Okay. And make contemporaneous document entries. So whenever the work is done, immediately you have to enter the entries. The data should be entered after the completion of the activity. Okay, move on. Yeah. So make entries to all the applicable cells. If not applicable, put NA. So here in the as a good documentation practices, none of the cell in the table or nothing in the box where it is mentioned, it should not be put blank. You have to always fill. So if it is yes, if it is nothing is there, you have to put NA. But you should not keep the blank space in any of the document. Okay, and make entries directly onto the authenticate format. Okay, so whenever we took issuance from any of the QA department person, so in that particular format, approved format only, you have to write the data. You should not use a white paper or you should not use your palm to write the data. Okay, so you should not use that. Okay. In case of multiple options to select from, encircle the applicable option. So there is some options, some questions are, somewhere the equipment is calibrated or not. There will be a yes or no type of questions will be there. That case you have to, select one. You have to circle it. What is the correct one? So that multiple options also you have to select, encircle and select it. Next, identify each entry with signature, date and time of entry. When you perform the activity, when you done the activity, you have to sign and you have to put the date and you have to put the time. Okay, this is the practice which we need to follow. Next, move on. Okay, let us also understand different signatures of mean like what in the pharma industry. So coming here, what is meant by performed by? So let us understand performed by is nothing but who has done the specific operation is nothing but a performed by. If I performed the activity, I am the performed by, right? So what is witnessed by? Acknowledgement by person who has witnessed the specific operation or task. Okay, I am performing the activity, but I know somebody else who is watching me or supervising me is witnessing that I performed the activity. That is nothing but a witnessed by sign. Okay, and checked by or reviewed by. Acknowledgement by a person after examination of the document or record along with the details mentioned therein. Okay, there is a checked by or reviewed by a person. They will also review the data, our activity versus review of the data with respect to the activity what was happened. So those things will be reviewed by that particular checked by a reviewed person and they will sign it once the review is done. Verified by, it is like acknowledgement by a person after verifying a document, raw data, record in manner that confirms accuracy also. So here the accuracy also comes in place by reviewing the raw data, predefined standards and completeness. Either it is completely, the data is completely entered and the raw data is correct or not. It is as per specifications only have made the test, or it is as per the procedure you followed. Those everything will be come in place, and this verified by person will do all these things and he will sign it. So that is where it is called verified by signature. Okay. And coming to the approved by, acknowledgement by a designated person that the checked or reviewed or verified document or record is acceptable. So once the work is performed, there is a reviewer or verified by person will review that activity or the data or an activity which they have performed with respect to the completeness of the document and the procedure. After that, there is a approved by person who will accept that this is all good and this is all acceptable as per the procedure, who is approving and authenticating that it is done in a good way. So that is nothing but a approved by. Okay, move on, Maheshwari. Yeah, so there are some don'ts. So far we learned about what is documentation and what are the good documentation practices which we need to follow, and we also learn about the documentation flow and what are the types of signatures and what are the types of naming of the signatures we have in the pharma industry. But now let us see what are the don'ts of documentation. Okay, because we also has to take care of the don'ts which we we have to take care when we are documenting the our work. So here, coming to this gentleman accumulating document entries for shift 10. Okay. So while entering the data, he started recollecting the observed values. Okay. So when the person is working, he started the activity and he has done a lot of the activities. Okay. Because whenever he is doing the activity, he is to enter some temperature readings or process parameters which he has observed in the particular process. Okay. But he didn't write it. He thought that after the work I will do it. After completion of the shift, I will do it. So what he has done, he just collected this type of these many records, and when he started entering at the end of the shift. So when he started recollect the observations or observation values, he is unable to recollect all the values at a time. Okay, and so if he didn't observe, so what he has done, so whatever he remembers, he will write. Not the exact value he will write. Okay, so that is where human memory is, it's not much constant. Even though you are 100% knowledgeable person, you may not remember every value that you have monitored or that you have verified or that you are noticed in that particular shift. That is the reason whenever the work is done, you have to immediately enter the data or a value. Never postpone document entries for later. You may be tempted to manipulate. If the manipulation is done, the data is is not reliable. So that is the reason you have to be very careful, and you have to enter as the work completes immediately. Okay, move on. Yeah. Okay. Also, it's one of the documentation. They have their own utility. Do not use tissue paper, post-it notes, chits, or your own palm for noted down readings. They are not authenticate formats. You should not use at all these things in the pharma industry. Always you have to use a approved records or approved formats from the QA department. There only you have to write the data. Okay, move on. Move on. Maheshwari. Yeah. And also these are things, never use these for document entry or document correction, right? In our childhood, we used to do that, right? Okay, place, erase, white fluid, whatever you want to do in the records also we used to use white fluids, right? But these are all not allowed when you are doing the documentation in the pharma industry. Okay, move on. Move on, Maheshwari. So these are the few don'ts that do not sign for anyone else. Okay, if your colleague has done the activity, you should not sign on the performer by. Okay, when you perform, then you have to sign. Okay, you should not sign for somebody else. And do not make document entries in advance. So some people may thought before shift only they will enter all the values, because every day I am only monitoring, right? So that is the reason they will enter the values in advance. That also you should not do. Do not make document entries in a back date. So if you performed the activity yesterday, today you are entering the activities on yesterday date, it is not acceptable. And do not make document entries for compliance. Okay, don't falsify the data. You didn't observe anything, and there is a test value that the criteria should be, the result should be within 90 to 110. The limit of a test is, or an essay limit or something, we say that it is, the limit is 90 to 110. So you didn't perform the test, or the test is failed. So for the compliance, you know that the test specification is 90 to 110. Don't write the value without doing the activity, or without a wrong value in that particular limit for the compliance purpose. You should not do that. Okay, move on. Yeah, and one more thing, we have to be very careful that don't rush through document entries. Think a while before writing. So when you are writing, or when you're doing any documentary entry in the particular document, so you have to be very careful, and you have to have a look what is there in it. Don't rush, don't in a hurry to enter it. Okay, it is an auditable document. It is a record for using for the investigation. So we have to be very careful, and we have to just enter the data in a proper way, and just take a 1 second to review that whatever the data you have entered. Okay, move on. Move on. Maheshwari. Yeah. So finally, if you see that your document reflects the culture of your organization and quality of your work. Okay. So ultimately, I just wanted to put a question here, students. So you are a good performer. You got good marks at your work. I mean, like in your education. And for example, if a seminar is going to ask by your professors, or seminar is asked by your lecturers, so even though you got a good mark, out of 100 you got 98 marks, if you are unable to give the seminar, that is going to be acceptable? Or when the interview is, yes, Utana, yes, no, it is not acceptable. And you got good marks, like 99 marks out of 100 you got, and when you gone to interview to some other industry or some other company as an employee, you went for recruitment, and where the interviewer asked to give a self introduction of yourself or whatever the education, some questions he asked to you. But if you are unable to represent what you have knowledge you are having, so if they will give the job to you, opportunity to you? Yes or no? No, right? Yes. See, because this is very, very important. Whatever the knowledge you are having, whatever the educational knowledge you are having, that has to be represented in a proper way to make how efficient you are. Right? In the same way, here also the same thing. When you document in a proper way, when you document the realistic data, when you document the steps in a as per the procedure, so that builds the quality of your work. The quality of the work will be decided based on the document what you have written, document what you have represented, right? So whenever the auditor comes or whenever somebody else from the outside organization comes, they will not check the process what is going on. They will just check the document what you have done. So that is the reason the documentation also plays an important role as a part of GDP. Okay, so yeah, Maheshwari, can you move on? Yeah. So coming to the final part we came, it is data integrity. So far we learned about the four parts. I just want to repeat the evaluation of GMP, which is talking about like the incidents which has happened, how the history came, and even talk about the personal hygiene, how the hygiene is important. And the third one is 10 principles of heart of a GMP we discussed, and elements of GDP, how the documentation is very important we discussed so far. And let us move on to the data integrity. Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Maheshwari. And students, just I want to put a question to you. What is data? In normal or any kind of a definition you give, like what is data? So waiting for your responses in the chat box. Team, anyone? I'll just pause for a second. Okay, so let me start. So what is data? Data is the smallest piece of independent and meaningful information. I'll just give a small example. Okay, so like coming to the student's case, from in Godavari district or in Krishna district or in some other like Guntur or somewhere. In Guntur college of some so and so college name. So data is nothing but 350 people, 350 students are studying in Guntur college. So that 350 number, 350 value is the data which will give the meaningful information, like 350 students studying in Guntur college. So it will give the meaningful information or not? Okay, so it's an information. That information can be anything. It is related to the process, it is related to the person, or it is related to some document, or it is related to some kind of input, or it is some kind of output of the process also. It can be anything, but it should have a meaning. Okay, so that is the reason it's information, smallest piece of information which should have a meaning. We should have a meaning. Okay. Move on. And coming to this data, a number of things came, like laboratory worksheets, we will enter the data, records, we will maintain the employee records, memoranda, notes, exact copies thereof. There's lot many things like data which will comes under data. For example, wherein I just weighing the material in the balance, like many of you have done practicals in the in your labs, right? So there, you will use a microbalance or some other balance. There you will put some weight, right? So when you are weighing that weight, you will just record what is the weight of that material or weight of that particular, powder, whatever you are using for the chemistry purpose or where you are recording. So there, you will note the weight of that particular thing. So that weight is called data. Okay. and weight of the product so and so will give a meaningful information to the data. So the data should be have a meaningful, right? So if you mention like 25, what is the 25? Is that meaningful, students? If I mention 25, what is that 25? Is it a number? Is it a temperature? Or it is a weight of the material? What it be? Students, I'll just pause for a minute. Is there having any meaning? Sultana said it's a number. Yes, it's a number, but it's not having any meaning. Okay. When I put that it is 25 grams, what we can say? What we can say? So 25 grams if I say, so what it is? It is weight of the material. It's a weight of the material. If I say that it is 25 degrees, okay, it is a temperature of that particular room or temperature of that particular area. So if a data is entered, that should have a meaning. When we put units and measurements, then that will have a meaningfulness to that particular data. Okay, move on, Maheshwari. Yeah, so here this is very important to understand like what is document, record and data. So coming here, let us understand, it's a simple pyramid that you will make you understand about the document, record and data. Coming here, document is a written, printed or electronic form that provides information or evidence, right? So we already learned documents is an instruction, right? So it's an instruction to a person how they have to perform the activity. So BPR is nothing but a batch. Can anyone tell? I'll just give an hint. Students, can anyone write the answer in the chat box that what is BPR? Just pause for a second. I'll just pause for a second. What is BPR? Yes, Sultana, rightly you said it is a batch. Package and record also we'll call it is a batch, and a production record we'll call it as. Okay. So nice answer. And coming here, it will give an instruction to an operator how the batch has to be handled step by step. Okay, so that is called as a document. It is a written, printed or electronic form that provides information or an evidence to add an instruction to a person. Okay, wherein coming to the record, it is collection of data points. That means log sheet. That means whatever the activities he performed, whatever the activities he performed, at what time he has observed the temperature reading, at what time he observed the, he recorded the pressure, at what time he observed the environmental readings of that particular, clean room. So he will write down 25 degrees, weight of the material 25 grams. So those points in the particular document or record, it will call it as a record. That is collection together, it is called as a record. So in the document, you will not enter anything. Document is an instruction. Wherein coming to the record you will perform the activity. That means whatever the executed activity, you will enter the data. That is record. Okay. Wherein coming to the data, it is the facts, figures, detailed particulars, specifics, etc. That is temperature, pressure or weight. Okay. If we'll see that coming to the pyramid, like downwards, if you see, data will be is a generated information. Like for example, data is a generated information. This information is like for example, as earlier we discussed as a case in weight of the sample or weight of the material. So this sample, when we weighted, it is like 25 grams, right? So that is data. 25 grams of the material is the data. In that 25 grams of the material and that particular data, you will enter in the record, right? Okay, you will enter in the record saying that I observed that the weight of the material is 25 grams. Like that, you will enter in the record. Record comes from where? It is comes from the particular instruction for a particular procedure. Okay, that is where three together will have a coincidence to understand this process. I hope you understand this the pyramid like what I explained, right? Move on, Maheshwari. Okay, I just want to put a question here, students. So, which of the following will be considered as a data? So, which of the following will be considered as data? Hurry up, students. You can answer in the chat box. So, which of the following will be considered as data? Yes, good, Pavan. I appreciate you. So it is temperature or pressure or weight. So in this particular question, I think you are seeing the screen, right? So in this screen, what is data? Can you mention, Pavan? It's B, right? Courtney said it is right. Okay. Appreciate your active participation. Yeah, Pavan also said it is like option B, right answer. So many. Thank you. Thanks for your responses. And let us move on to the next slide, Maheshwari. Yeah. So let us understand, Alcova. Okay. So what is Alcova? So let us see and let us understand the recent guidance which came in Alcova and Alcova Plus. So here, when we are talking about Alcova, so there is different abbreviations like we have for each word. Okay, Alcova is ALCOA. A is attributable. L means legible. C means contemporaneous. O means original. Another A means accurate. Okay. So what is the meanings of that? So let me tell you, let me make you understand about this Alcova. Okay. So initial A means attributable. Attributable is nothing but the person generating the data or the person performed the data is nothing but attributable. So when any person is performing the data, we have to have an attribute who performed the activity. For example, your colleague has done some mistake and he will say that I have not done. He only signed it. Is it acceptable? No. We have to have a proper authentication and proper attributeness that who has done that particular activity. He has to sign the what activity he has done and he has to put the date and time. So he cannot say that somebody else has done. Right? We have to have a proof that who has done. That is nothing but an attribute who performed the activity. Okay. Next, legible. Legible is record the data clearly. So when you are writing something, you have to have a clarity. Clearly have to write that the next person should understand what you have written. And contemporaneous. Contemporaneous is documented the time of the activity. For example, after every completion of the activity, we have to put our signatures or the data entry we have to do. Okay. Today morning, I came to the work and like earlier we discussed in the example, today morning came to the work. Okay. I have done lot of the activities, but I will enter those details in the end of the day. Is it acceptable? Are you able to remember everything? Are you able to remember observed values or weights or temperature pressures which you observed for the whole day? Yes or no? Students? No, Sultana. Yes, you are rightly said. No, we cannot remember every value. Right? You are in the process or when you are working in the industry, you may not recollect all the values what you have observed for the entire day. That is the reason you have to enter the data after completion of the activity. That is immediately after completion of the activity, you have to enter the data in the record. Yeah, Gaurav and Sultana and Courtney, thank you for your active participation. You answered well in the chat box. Okay, and original. When we are talking about the original means always your data should be entered in a original document. Like I said, it should not be in the palm, it should not on the rough papers, it should not be on the some other walls, or it should not be on the post-it notes. Original document, authenticated document only you have to enter the data. And coming to the accurate means accurate. It is accurate. That means no errors. No errors means So it should not have a falsification. If you observed a value when you are weighing the sample, if you observe that it is the sample is of 25 grams, because to comply with the procedure, because to comply with the specification of the material, don't mention that it is 27. Actual value what you have observed, that only have to write. That is error free, accurate. That is called error free and accurate. And so let us move on to the next slide. So this is all about the Alcoa. That is, let us understand what is Alcoa: attributable, legible, contemporaneous, original, and accurate. Okay, move on, Maheshwari. Oh, those things explained. Yeah. So coming to the Alcoa Plus. Okay. So these are all the recent guidance. 2 years back, apart from Alcoa, there is 4 other things came up in the guideline and as per the instance which has happened across the organizations. So it is called as Alcoa Plus. So Alcoa is attributable, legible, contemporaneous, and accurate. And there is an inclusion as a plus. These 4 things also came here. That is complete, consistent, enduring, and available. So if you see here, complete means all data including repeat or reanalysis performed on the sample. Here if you see that repeat or reanalysis means when you have performed doing a test, initially it's got failed. Okay, so and again you have performed the test, it is passed. So now I want to put a question to you students. You will only write the data for the value which is, the test which is passed. Students, are you going to write the data which is only passed, which the test only passed? No. Yes, Sultana, we should not write. Thanks for your response. We have to write, that is the completeness. When you perform the test, the failed test as well as the passed test, both the things you have to record it. That is the completeness. That is what it is talking about, the complete data we required. Okay. And consistent. Consistent means consistent application of data timestamps in the expected sequence. So wherever in R&D or in QC there are sequence of activities will be there. So that time you have to see the sequence and you have to enter the data timestamps. I will just tell you a simple example. Okay, it's a normal life example. I just want to make you understand about it. So whenever we'll see, I'll just put my watch. So because of I'm in a hurry, so what I will do, because I want to make myself alert with respect to the time to go to the office, what I'll do, I'll just put, if it is 5 o'clock, I'll put 5:15, so that I'll see the time and I'll just do my activities in a faster way. Okay, so I'll go to office. So there I have a digital clock. Okay, in every area we have a calibrated digital clocks in the industry, in the departments. Okay, so first when I am recording when I started my activity, I have seen my watch and I recorded 5:15. I recorded 9:30. I started but actual time is 9:15. But my watch is 15 minutes past. What I have recorded, my time is 9:30. I started the activity at 9:30. Okay, but my completed time I have written the digital clock time, which is there in the department. But that is the actual time. Okay, is it correct? Is it correct, students? Students? Okay, I'll tell you, see, always you have to follow one thing. Always you have to follow the digital clocks which is provided in the organization, not your watches. One time your hand watch or one time your digital clock in the organization you should not follow. Only one thing you have to follow which is arranged in the industry. Always you have to use one single data timestamps when you are entering the data. And coming to the enduring is nothing but medium used to record the data. The medium is very, very important. Either you are entering in a notebook when you are entering the data of test result and worksheets, or an electronic media. That is very, very important. And wherever you are entering in a software, so the medium where you are entering is very, very important. The medium should be in a proper way. It is an authenticated document where you have to enter. and available. Available is nothing but for the lifetime of the record. So whenever you documented anything, whenever you recorded anything, the data you have done for it, the data you collected for a test, the data you collected for any activity, it should be available and accessible to any person in the organization as well as to the auditor. Okay, so there is a specific time and there is specific lifetime for every. Hello, Lakshmi, can you mute? Yeah, thank you. So it is for the lifetime of the record. So the data should be available. It should not be torn, and it should not be like you will just do and keep it somewhere else. Not like that. So whenever you have done some activity, you have done some batch process, you have done some test, the record, the document, record and data of the same should be available in the company premises under some and in a protective way. We have to save the documents also. So it should be accessible for investigations purpose. It will be accessible to the auditor purpose, to review purpose for even at the market complaints also. So that is where this ALCO plus also ALCO also will play a major role as a part of GMP. Move on, Maheshwari. Yeah, so I want to put a question, team. Attributable means data shall give input about the person who carried out the activity and recorded the data. It's true or false? Hurry up, team, hurry up. So attributable means data shall be input about the person who carried out the activity and recorded the data. Yes, Sultana, right answer. Anyone else? Anyone want to give the answer? Anyone want to give the answer? Anyone else? Yes, Pavan. Yes. Courtney, good. Nice participation. Gaurav, Badrima, true. Yes. You are all right. Yes. So let us move on. And thank you guys for your nice participation and active participation. I appreciate your active participation. Move on. Thank you, Pratap Garu, for your answer. Yeah. Move on, Maheshwari. So let me also put a question to you all. Contemporaneous means recording. So there is a question displayed here in the screen. Can you answer that? Hurry up, students. Hurry up. So contemporaneous means recording. So I'll just read for you. Option A is time as required in BPR. So his answer already displayed by Maheshwari. So anyone want to tell? Contemporaneous means. So the answer is already on the screen. It is immediately after an activity is performed. Courtney has given a good answer. Sultana has given a good answer. It's D. Thank you guys. Thank you. Let us move on. So really thank you for bearing me for this much time, and I just want to conclude here with the session. So here this is the GMP, what we have discussed. It is a GMP, current good CGMP also we'll call it as. It is a CGMP, that is current good manufacturing practices we have to follow to manufacture the product in a pharmaceutical industry. Why the C came in place? It is like current good manufacturing. Always we have to have a updated current good manufacturing regulations we have to follow to manufacture the product. Okay, so so far we discussed the importance, the evaluation or the history of the GMP came, and later on we discussed about the personal hygiene part and 10 principles of the GMP. And later on we discussed about the GMP, what is GDP, what is GDP, what is documentation, and also lastly we discussed about the data integrity. What are the 5 things which we have discussed is hard for the GMP. So this is very important to the pharma organization. So without GMP, there is no manufacturing at the site. Always we have to follow these guidelines, GMP guidelines, to make sure that our patient who is consuming the product is safe, and also to produce the consistent quality products within the specification limits. So thank you team for your nice participation, and thanks for your time. And Maheshwari, I want to just give a homework to the
Yes,
students.
madam. Sure, you can, madam.
Yeah, shall I tell here?
Yeah, you can tell here, madam.
So I just want to give what are the personal hygiene habits which we need to follow in our regular life. So that is one thing, one assignment. So students, you can write it down. Personal hygiene habits which you have to follow in the regular life. That is one thing. And so write a few guidelines of different GMP regulations, like GMP regulations in different countries. So just few steps. What are the different GMP regulatory bodies are there in the world? And brief about that GMP guidelines. So I repeat again, like different GMP regulatory guidelines in the world, and brief about it. And third one, what are the documentation practices you understood from this session? What are the documentation practices which you need to follow? Like what about the documentation you understood from this session? Write down few points which you learned. Okay, so thank you team, and this is the homework. And Maheshwari.
So thank you so much, Shravani, to deliver such a good session. Uh,
Thank you.
I hope it was
And
very useful for the students. So can we disconnect, Maheshwari?
Yeah, yes, madam. Few minutes. Students, anyone
yeah, so
having
before
any
that,
queries,
Lakshmi.
please respond.
Yeah, before conclude, I thank everyone in the every student who is participating in the session for sparing the time, and also a nice coordination Maheshwari and Pratap Reddy and Lakshmi from your side to make me familiar with this system, and your continuous coordination helped me a lot to move this session forward. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, team.
Madam.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye. Bye,
Bye,
students.
students. Thank you, madam. Students, please submit the feedback form. Based on that only, we'll provide the certificate. Please don't miss. In AidMeet, Facebook, YouTube also I have given the link. Please check it and submit the feedback form. Okay, thank you so much, madam.
Yeah, bye,
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 madam.
Maheshwari. Yeah, yeah.
Students, please give the feedback form. Based on that only, we'll provide the certificate. I have provide the link in YouTube, Facebook, and AidMeet also. Please check it and give the feedback form. Thank you so much.